This is the Cessna 170, the great-granddaddy of a sizable chunk of the world's single-engined aircraft. Most pilots are introduced to tailwheel flying in small, two-place types such as the Piper Cub, Aeronca Champ, and Cessna 140, airplanes that are perfectly suited to initial training and short pleasure flights. But as they build experience, more than a few pilots begin to recognize the limitations of these bantamweights and begin searching for an airplane that offers the satisfaction and fun of a taildragger with the flexibility and utility to unlock a wider variety of flying adventures. Lately, more and more are arriving at the conclusion that the Cessna 170 provides an optimal blend of qualities. It's a good performing, honest four-seater and also a lot of fun to fly. Stay with us till the end of the video because here is everything you need to know about the Cessna 170. Stepping inside, the cabin width measures approximately 40 inches or 1 meter, while its height stands at about 38 inches or 95 centimeters, which doesn't offer much in the way of elbow or headroom, especially for taller pilots and passengers, but it's comparable to other aircraft in its class. The cabin accommodates the pilot and co-pilot seats along with a rear bench-style seat. The seating is configured in a 2+2 arrangement, designed to seat a maximum of 4 occupants. The pilot and co-pilot seats, upholstered in fabric or leather, depending on the refurbishment level, provide an old-school tactile experience. The rear seats are bench-style, offering a simple but effective place for passengers to sit. Storage is relatively limited, with small compartments available behind the rear seat. There's enough room for light luggage, camping gear, or fishing equipment, perfect for a weekend getaway. The baggage allowance generally ranges from 120 to 200 pounds or 54 to 91 kilograms, depending on the specific model and any modifications made to the aircraft. Amenities are minimal. You won't find USB charging ports, in-flight entertainment systems, or plush carpeting, however. What it lacks in modern conveniences, it more than makes up for in panoramic views afforded by its large windows. The noise level inside the cabin can be quite high, considering the age of the aircraft and the absence of modern soundproofing materials, which makes headsets more of a necessity than an option. The hum of the engine provides an audible reminder of the aircraft's vintage nature. There's a raw, mechanical feel to the sounds that appeals to many old-school pilots. Now let's talk about the cockpit. Visibility is commendable thanks to expansive windows, which encompass both sides and extend across the upper part of the cabin, providing nearly 180-degree horizontal visibility. For pilots accustomed to the restricted view in some newer, more streamlined designs, this is a refreshing change. The layout is a classic design that emphasizes utility and straightforwardness. Its width restricts the amount of free space, but keeps all controls and instruments within easy reach. Generally speaking, you'll find the yoke directly in front of the pilot and co-pilot seats, throttle and mixture controls in the center console, and a vertically aligned radio stack. In its original configuration, the instrument panel is what you would call steam gauge based. There's usually an airspeed indicator, an altimeter, and a vertical speed indicator. For engine management, you can expect a tachometer, oil pressure, and temperature gauges. Turn coordinators or turn and bank indicators round off the basic but functional layout. The panel is usually divided into the standard T layout with flight instruments on the upper half and engine-related gauges below. The design adheres to the keep it simple principle, which is a boon for situational awareness but a drawback if you're seeking the wealth of information and automation provided by modern glass cockpits. The radio and navigation stack in a classic Cessna 170 is a medley of older VHF radios, ADF receivers, and basic transponders. Some might also sport VOR indicators, a technology considered state-of-the-art when initially introduced. However, it's important to note that many Cessna 170s have been retrofitted with more advanced avionics suites. Common upgrades include Garmin GNS or GTN series navigators, which offer GPS, COM, and nav functionalities along with a color display. Digital audio panels and Mode S transponders featuring ADS-B compliance are also common additions. However, the architecture of the electrical system often restricts the number of avionics that can be installed without requiring significant modification. The ergonomics of the cockpit controls in the Cessna 170 can be considered basic by modern standards. Control yokes are the order of the day, providing a tactile experience that many pilots find increasingly rare. The throttle quadrant is simplistic, usually containing just the throttle and mixture levers, and sometimes a propeller control in modified versions. The arrangement of circuit breakers and switches is usually clustered on a small panel within arm's reach. Now, let's talk about the engine, performance specifications, and how it flies. The aircraft primarily features the Continental 0300 or the Continental C145 engine, with a TBO of 1,200 to 1,800 hours, both of which are horizontally opposed, six-cylinder air-cooled engines. The 0300 provides about 145 horsepower, while the earlier C145 also churns out 145 horsepower, but has slight differences in design and parts compatibility. Flown solo at sea level with a bit of fuel burned off, the engine provides sprightly takeoff performance, often returning takeoff rolls in the 500-foot range. Loaded to maximum takeoff weight, however, one must expect a 60% longer takeoff roll, followed by a rather laborious climb rate that requires 1,800 feet or 550 meters to clear a 50-foot obstacle. Moving on to the rate of climb, the Cessna 170 boasts an initial climb rate per minute of around 690 feet or 210 meters. The aircraft eventually reaches a maximum service ceiling of about 15,500 feet or 4,720 meters, offering decent high-altitude performance for cross-country flights or mountainous terrain navigation. Once in the air, the 170 is as unremarkable as the 172 into which it evolved. Climb performance is sufficient, but not impressive. Stalls and handling are docile and predictable, and depending on the propeller, cruise performance hovers around 100 to 120 knots, with most owners reporting a fuel burn per hour of 7 to 10 gallons or 26 to 37 liters. Useful loads are generally around 850 pounds or 385 kilos, leaving roughly 600 pounds or 270 kilos for people and gear with full tanks. The aircraft's maximum range is about 410 nautical miles, which is 470 miles or 760 kilometers, assuming optimal conditions and conservative fuel management. The landing distance for the Cessna 170 is one of its strong suits, especially when considering its short field capabilities. On a standard day, the landing distance is about 1,150 feet or 350 meters, and you can expect a landing roll of about 450 feet or 140 meters, not accounting for any obstacles, which makes it ideal for landing in constrained or unprepared environments. Since it has been out of production since 1956, prices for the Cessna 170 are all for second-hand models. There are several different engine sizes and other options, so prices do vary to a large extent, but usually prices vary between $30,000 and $200,000. While the annual fixed cost is roughly $5,000 to $10,000, the average hourly operating cost is estimated at $50 to $100. Thank you for staying with us till the end. Here are 2 videos you can watch next. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.